Job was a good man. He loved God with a pure heart. He loved his wife. He loved his children. He had wide lands that stretched to the horizon. He had thousands of animals that grazed upon his green hills. He had many friends who shared his table. His home was a place of warmth and comfort. The sun rose each morning on his fields, painting them with gold. His house was always full of laughter and good food. His life was a portrait of deep and abiding peace. What would you do if a life like this, so full of blessing and light, was suddenly stripped away? What would you hold on to when everything else was gone? He was a man who walked in integrity. His steps were firm on the path of righteousness. He knew where his blessings came from. Each morning, he would rise before the sun. He would offer prayers for his family. He saw each new day not as a right, but as a gift. A simple man might look at such wealth and grow proud. Job looked at his life and grew humble. He felt the deep joy of a man held in the steady hands of a loving Creator. He knew that God had given him these abundant gifts, and with a grateful heart, he thanked God for them, day after day. His life was a song of praise. Imagine the scene. A clear sky stretches above, a perfect blue canvas. Job sits with his children. They eat together. They share stories. They laugh the easy laugh of those who feel safe and loved. A warm, gentle wind moves through the tall trees. Life felt secure, as solid as the earth beneath their feet. This is the quiet before the storm. This is the peaceful valley before the earthquake. A life so complete it seems untouchable. But the deepest questions of faith are not asked in the sunlight. They are forged in the darkness, when the peace is shattered and the world turns upside down. Then, the noise came. It began as a distant rumble and grew into a roar. Messengers came running, feet pounding the dust, faces masked with terror, words in fast, breathless bursts. Raiders had stolen the oxen. Raiders had stolen the donkeys. Fire had fallen from the sky. Fire consumed the sheep. A great wind had broken the house. The messengers said the children were lost. Good men who worked for him were gone. The messengers fell at Job's feet, bodies trembling. Short, sharp words. The terrible truth. Job's world began to fall apart, piece by painful piece. Job stood up. He did not scream. He did not curse the heavens. He did not shake his fist. He fell to his knees, a profound surrender. He tore his robe. He shaved his head. He looked up to the sky. The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. They were a testament of deep and abiding faith. Then, as if the loss of his world were not enough, worse things came. A terrible sickness came upon him. Painful sores covered his skin from the top of his head to the soles of his feet. The pain was a constant fire, burning on his arms, burning on his legs, burning in his joints, burning on his flesh. He could find no comfort. He sat in a pile of ashes, the remnants of a burned-out life. He used a piece of broken pottery to scrape his itching sores, the ash a small, gritty comfort for his overwhelming grief. He was a portrait of human suffering, a king of wealth reduced to a beggar in the dust.
You speak as one of the foolish women would speak, he said. Shall we receive good from God, and shall we not receive evil?
In all this, Job did not sin with his lips. He refused to charge God with wrongdoing. He held fast. This was a deeper test. It is one thing to lose possessions. It is another to lose your health. But the deepest cut is love that misunderstands you. That is the deepest cut of all. 3 friends came to see him: Eliphaz, Bildad, Zophar. From a distance, they could not even recognize him. They saw his suffering and wept aloud. They tore their robes and sprinkled dust on their heads, joining him in mourning. For 7 days and 7 nights they sat in silence. But then they spoke, and their words were not a comfort. They were like salt poured into open wounds. They were convinced they knew the reason for his pain. If you do good, God blesses you. If you suffer, you must have done wrong. They looked at Job, covered in sores, and pointed their fingers with self-assured logic. They said God must be angry with him. They insisted there was some secret sin. Each friend delivered a long, eloquent speech. Eliphaz spoke of a vision. Can any mortal be righteous before God? Bildad pointed to tradition. The wicked are always punished. Zophar claimed Job's punishment was less than he deserved. Their words made Job feel more alone. Trying to explain pain, they condemned the one in pain. They were miserable comforters. Job tried to defend his integrity. He knew he was not perfect, but not deserving of this. He asked hard questions. He wrestled with their accusations. He felt utterly alone. Their words circled him like vultures. The story does not hide this truth. Easy answers do not fit complex pain. They judge when they should love. Job's spirit was heavy. He began to speak, not in defiance, but in desperation. He asked the questions that echo in every suffering soul. He yearned for an answer, a conversation with the Almighty. He felt lost in a vast and silent universe. There was no sign, no whisper, no gentle reassurance. He held his pain like a heavy stone in his chest. He remembered the joy of his family, the peace of his home, and walking with God in the light.
Why me? What have I done to deserve this?
This was the honest cry of a wounded child. Pain is real. Doubt is real. The feeling of being abandoned is real. Yet Job remained honest. He did not pretend. He brought his anger, confusion, and grief directly to God. True faith is not the absence of questions. It is the courage to ask them and wrestle in the dark. He kept reaching out, still hoping for a response. Then one night, the air grew still. Storm clouds gathered like a great army. It was not an ordinary storm. It was a whirlwind, a vortex of power and majesty. And from the heart of that storm, a deep voice broke the silence. God spoke. The words were not what anyone expected. Not a list of sins, not a lecture on law. They were questions about a vast, wild world. Were you there when I laid the earth's foundations? Can you command the morning? Bind the Pleiades? Loose Orion? The voice painted the untamed creation. Job stood small before awesome power.
I am unworthy. I put my hand over my mouth. I will say no more. His arguments melted away.
God did not explain the why. He revealed the who. The encounter did not answer Job's questions. It dwarfed them. God did not shout at Job from the whirlwind. He did not punish him with another blow. After revealing his greatness, he reached out with a restorative hand. He healed what was broken. He gave back what was lost. He made Job strong again, in body. He made Job strong again, in spirit. He filled Job's life with new sons. He filled Job's life with new daughters. A new generation brought laughter back to his home. The Lord blessed Job's latter days more than the former. He gave him twice as much as before. But the point is not riches returned, nor even the pain endured. It is the faith he kept. Faith is a lifeline in the storm, trusting the one who holds it all.